Madam Speaker, we have experienced across the country, at both levels of government, the national government, the county governments, Madam Speaker, a lot of contractors and suppliers of goods and services have suffered immeasurable, consequences because of delayed payments, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I therefore rise to support this bill with amendments, Madam Speaker, because if we talk about interest on delayed payments, Madam Speaker, it may become a challenge. It may, become untenable. But, Madam Speaker, the general intent of this bill is good and will also bring discipline to, the contracting agencies, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, with the changes in governments at the county levels, very different governments coming in even after 5 years, we have seen contractors and suppliers who have been, whose payments have been delayed, others have never been paid. People have suffered with bank loans. They have suffered the collateral damage. People's properties have been auctioned by the banks, Madam Speaker, because people take loans in order to be able to supply, in order to be able to deliver these goods and services, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we have actually seen Kenyans who have suffered to an extent of even, getting sick. Others have lost their lives in other situations, Madam Speaker, because of depression. Family properties have been put into jeopardy, Madam Speaker, because of delayed payments, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, what I see this bill curing is, it will bring discipline into the whole supply chain, Madam Speaker, that we become disciplined. We should have good intentions when you advertise for goods and services. Then you should also be ready to pay, Madam Speaker, especially because, as the Senator Shakaola has said, these are already, things that are in the budget. These are things that have been budgeted for. And counties, the various levels of government, it's not only counties, must always advertise for what they can pay, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we have also seen, county governments that, or governors who have left a lot of debts, pending bills for the next government to come in, Madam Speaker. And so it is sort of collapses services at the county levels, because the first thing a governor addresses when they come in is to try and sort out pending bills. Madam Speaker, we must also insist on payments that can only be done after verification, due verification that these services were delivered, that these goods were delivered. Madam Speaker, because we have in this country where corruption has taken root at all levels of government, Madam Speaker, people have supplied nothing and they come and demand payment, Madam Speaker. And so, Madam Speaker, it is important that audits are done, that forensic audits are done, make sure that the goods have been delivered, services have been delivered, and payment should be done, Madam Speaker. And so I do agree with the members who have spoken earlier that whereas the intention of the bill is very good and will bring discipline into the whole area of procurement, Madam Speaker, we may not necessarily insist on interests, because also we have seen counties that have not necessarily delayed payments, not of their own making, but because of delays of allocations from Treasury, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, I do support, Madam Speaker. We have seen also situations, and I think this bill should address situations whereby we have encouraged our young people to go into business with governments at both levels, national and counties, and also the women and disabled people. But in the process, they get themselves into a quagmire which they don't understand, where a field where there are cartels, a field where nobody even respects the portion or the 30% that was meant for the youth and meant for the disabled people and for the women, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, for our young people to be able to prosper in this field, we must bring discipline into this field. For women to be able to do business with government, Madam Speaker, this field has to be streamlined. And it can only be streamlined if there are prompt payments, Madam Speaker. And so, Madam Speaker, I support because it is very important. It is very important that government becomes disciplined. It is very important that goods are paid for. It's very important, Madam Speaker, that we become disciplined in all fields, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we have visited other countries, and we have seen the kind of, and even private entities in this country, Madam Speaker, do pay on delivery. Madam Speaker, we have seen private entities, private enterprises are prompt in their kind of dealings with the public or with their suppliers, Madam Speaker. Discipline must also be brought into the public service in terms of procurement, Madam Speaker, and I think this law is meant to do exactly that with a few amendments, Madam Speaker. It's a very good law, Madam Speaker, which we need to support. Thank you very much.
I think there's no other contributor. I now call upon the mover to reply.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity.